Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. My name is Beth. Today we're going to do a plan with me for January 22nd through the 28th. I have a lot of unknowns this week, so we're going to talk about it. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, I have not penciled in anything for this week. And the reason for that is I've got some huge chunks of time where I'm going to be places other than my work. And I've got some things going on that I can't commit to doing because of a medical situation. Again, we'll talk about it here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and lay down some washi tape down here just to have it. I am going with this very simple gold check. Whoop. Yeah, that's fun. And we're going to try to do this pretty quickly because things are not great in Bethland, and it's okay. Sometimes it happens. For my skinny washi tape, I'm doing this green that also sort of has this check pattern on it. It's just what I'm feeling. In other news, last week it did snow pretty much all day Sunday and then part of Monday. Here in Arkansas, when we have snow in the forecast, we go, oh, well, we'll believe it when we see it. Well, it happened. And then normally here, it melts pretty quickly. Or it's ice and nobody can go anywhere or do anything because you can't drive in ice. But it did snow, and then the temperatures have stayed below freezing. So our snow didn't go anywhere. It has just stuck around all week long, which is not normal. Monday again was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All of our MLK speeches and celebrations around town were canceled and moved to different days, which is not ideal, because we definitely want to have that recognition. Still having them, but they did get moved because it's Arkansas and it snows and nobody can go anywhere in the snow. We have got those down, and I'm going to go ahead and stick these in. And when we get back to the weekly setup, we're going to see that I don't have a whole lot of daily entries for this past week. That is because y'all know I mentioned in my last plan with me that I was in a little bit of a funk. One of my favorite quotes from William Shakespeare's Hamlet is, "When sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions," which means when something tends to go wrong, it all happens at once. And that's what I'm feeling this week. I, 8 years ago, had a situation where I needed an MRI on my back. I have this weak spot between my C6 and my C7 in my neck. And at that point in time, it was a full-on bulging disc. They wanted to do surgery pretty much immediately, but then it receded. And the doctors used the word miraculous. In fact, the doctor was like, I'm not a person who uses this word, but as bad as your MRI was, this should never have receded and sort of corrected itself. And over the years, it might flare up here and there, but I can always do some home PT, some physical therapy, and maybe if I really needed it, get a steroid pack from my doctor, and it would kind of fall back into line. It's been a minute since it's flared up on me, and I woke up just in agony. It is affecting the right side of my body. I do have numbness and tingling in my right hand, which is why I have not been around on the interwebs this last week. My dominant hand is my right hand, and it's affecting everything. So today I'm trying to film 2 videos back to back to see if I can get them up. I do have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. We're going to get it blocked off here in just a second. I've put in our headers for the week. I think I'm going to put another strip of tape up here at the top. I'm going to leave a space for the weather, but y'all, I'm not going to write in the weather right now. It will take a little too long for what I have in me at the moment, but I will come back and write in the weather for the week so that I kind of know what's going on. I don't always know what's going on with the weather, but maybe I can kind of know what's going on. I do typically also leave Saturday and Sunday for me to do some, not necessarily weekend to-do lists, but weekly to-do lists, things I'm going to do around the house. Last week, I put in here that I was going to start prepping for an upcoming move that I have, which, you know, this back situation or neck situation making even harder. I have started my book situation. So shelf by shelf, until the back thing happened, I was taking down a shelf of books or a section, and I would do a hardcore inventory of them, stick them in a box if I was going to unhaul them. And I've unhauled more than I thought I would unhaul. Do a genre sort, that sort of thing. It did spur a big revamp of my Notion library database. So I've worked on that a lot, and I have been able to work on that on my iPad with my left hand from my bed on my back, or in positions that are more comfortable than sitting at a desk, because sitting at a desk is about the most uncomfortable thing I can do. That and driving. Driving is the worst position I can be in right now. I'm not going to put in one of these lists, at least not today, because again, I don't know what the rest of this week is going to look like once we get past some big things. So we're going to put the weather here. I'm going to leave this for a little sort of notesy notes. I do want to put in that on Thursday, is that the 25th? Yeah. Thursday the 25th, we do have a full moon. The full moon for January is the wolf moon, if you wanted that information. We're going to go ahead and just put a little open circle indicating we have a full moon on Thursday. All right. Planning for the week. In December, my youngest son just happened to mention to me that he was having some issues with his eyes. We think people can see unless they start complaining about it, but he mentioned not just vision, but maybe some black spots. And I was like, no, we can't play around with that. Made some phone calls. I had an eye appointment that week myself and managed to get him in before the end of the year. He's now got glasses. He feels like he can see, but he might also have a hole in his retina. And how that happens to a 23-year-old, I don't know. So we have a specialist appointment this morning. So I'm taking the entire morning off of work, and then I'll probably be remote for the rest of the day. And what I need to do in the rest of the day is work on an internal website that I have been building on our intranet. Some informational stuff about special events at the organization where I work. I'm sort of a one-woman department. And so I'm pushing out some educational and informational stuff on how to properly hold an event at our organization for the rest of the company to reference. Been working on it for a while. I need it to go live on Monday because it's a very big thing that's happening Tuesday. So for the rest of the day, we're going to wrap up that website. I really just need to do some links and some connecting and make sure all of those things are working, and we should be good to go. And then on Tuesday, once a month, our organization has a town hall where our CEO has different people speak, and I am speaking to our entire organization about events. And Tuesday, this is relevant because I have a clinic appointment at our back and neck clinic on Wednesday. And of course, they were trying to get me in as soon as possible. They wanted to get me in on Tuesday. And this is a thing I can't miss. Like, this is a thing that I have to be there for. Even my boss was like, we're going to pump you full of meds. We'll do what we need to do to get you to this town hall on Tuesday. So not only am I attending town hall, I'm actually speaking at town hall. So I'm actually going to block off from about 10:30 onward, so I can do some prep, and then I can do the speaking at town hall. And then on Wednesday from 2 o'clock onward, I am taking off so that I can go to the neck and spine clinic. And really, the rest of this week is kind of dictated by what happens here. Whether I can get a Z-Pack. We also have this situation where I'm changing PCPs at the moment, so I couldn't just call my PCP because of insurance purposes. They're not currently taking my insurance as of January 1. I'm sure other people in the United States have had this issue before. It's just one of those great things that we have in our system of healthcare. And so I'm in the process of changing PCPs. Don't have my next PCP appointment with my new PCP, primary care physician, until February. So I didn't have anybody to call to say, can you look at my old MRI and see what this thing looks like and what we've been fighting off for 8 years so I don't have to have surgery, and prescribe me some painkillers or something that's going to pop this thing back in. Hence the trip to the neck and spine clinic, so I can see if I can get some resolution. And hopefully that resolution is not pushing me towards surgery, but hopefully I can get some pain relief or the steroid pack to kind of resolve it again for a little bit. And then the rest of this week is dictated really by what happens here. I do have a lot of deadlines for February. There's a lot that I've got to do, and I really don't have time to be on my back between work and moving. I don't have time for this thing to be happening. But it's happening, so, what are you gonna do about it? I really like this washi tape. I'm gonna put another strip underneath where our meals would go. I haven't planned for meals. I do still have both boys with me, and they're on standby for what do you think you can already cook, or what do you think you can cook with mom's direction kind of situation, so that we're not eating out all the time just because my back hurts. That is really, y'all, kind of what this week looks like. I don't have any deliveries coming yet. I do need to do a Walmart order. We're leaving this half open because we have to take time for ourselves when something goes awry, and it has definitely gone awry. I am going to stick some decoration on here. I have run out of January's. I said I'll probably put an extra one in February to make sure we have enough of them. I still have some of the stickers from my sticker kit, and I'm going to use those because we've had snow on the ground all week, and these just feel like the right vibe. And I don't really have any rhyme or reason other than I'm just filling in space because I know how empty it looks. I'm supposed to have dinner with a friend this week, but we haven't landed on a dinner day yet. We've been trying to have dinner for a little while now. The weather got in the way, and my deadlines have gotten in the way, and so hopefully we can manage it. I'll stick that on here once we have that confirmed. Let's see. I always safely stick a sticker mid-afternoon to afternoon on Fridays because not much goes on in my organization on Fridays. It's when I always clean out my email and that sort of thing. And I do have these two teeny tiny icons that are like a doctor with a stethoscope. I'm going to go ahead and put those on here. All right, like I said, that'll be pretty much it for the weekly for now. Sometimes we have to pinch it. Sometimes it's just not going like it's supposed to go, right? Anyway, hopping over, and I started off the week with some daily logging, and then I went ahead and I put in this note for myself. If you ever fall off the habit and need to remind yourself of why, instead of beating yourself up about it, just write yourself a note. And this one says, bulging disc, writing is difficult, pain and numbness in my dominant hand. Typing is easier, so I did a lot of to-do lists and Microsoft Word through the course of the week to get through, as opposed to writing it down in my journal. And then we're just going to start fresh. Starting fresh means that we are going to do our next list in the 52 lists project, as my cats go barreling by with the zoomies, is list number 4, which means I'll need to cut out list number 4 from my header sheet. I intended to cut all of these out, but again, repetition of the hand and the shoulder, not a great combination. All right, and I just sort of center it. It's going to be a surprise to you and me because I haven't looked to see what list number 4 says at all. And list number 3, I always tell you I'll come back and show you when I have filled it in after the fact, was list the happiest moment of your life so far, or happiest moments. I did a lot of them. For me, I could remember being in the States when I was like 5 and we went back to Kenya the summer I turned 6, and Kenya's my happy place. I still think of it as home, even though I live in the U.S. I grew up playing field hockey. I was always happy on the hockey field. I was always happy on safari. We had these special interim trips we did when I was a kid. And then I started doing experiences with my kids for Christmas instead of gifts a while back. And so one of those was going to a soccer game with one of my sons, an Evanescence concert with Kenny, who y'all know if you've watched this channel for a little bit. It was his very first concert. We went to see Phantom of the Opera. I got my degree in English as an adult. I was 39. It was my goal to get it before my 40th birthday. Just some other things that I still have some spots that I can fill in as well. Those were some of the highlights that I could think of. I told y'all that I had been in a little bit of a funk, and filling in that list was going to be difficult because it just felt triggering at the time. Okay, let's look. And of course, this back thing has not helped my funk. I can tell you that right now. All right. List the soundtrack of your life right now. And this is going to be a fun one. The follow-up action to list number 4 is make a playlist of these songs as a memento of the person that you are at this very moment. Revisit this list in the summertime and again in the winter to see if the songs that feel like you change with the seasons. And if you are new here, you may not know that I have a very hefty Spotify catalog. Last year, all of my bullet journal themes were drawn from my Spotify playlists. It's just another one of those artistic outlets for me, is to build playlists for just about everything. I have well over 100 playlists. And I guess after I write this one down, we're going to actually put it on Spotify. You can always follow me at Spotify on my link below. But we'll come back and we'll look at this next week, because this is something I can do from my computer. I might not get it written on here this week, depending on how I'm feeling with this neck and shoulder situation, but it's something that I can do on the computer and share that with y'all if you want to see what the soundtrack of my life looks like right now. Of course, I might not be in the right headspace to create the soundtrack of my life at the moment, but it would definitely be the soundtrack for the here and the now. So that is it. We have our list ready to go. Hopefully I can do some daily logging this week. I'm hoping I'm going to take it easy enough over this weekend that I can do some self-physical therapy that I've done in the past to help relieve some of my pain, and maybe going into my appointment on Wednesday, I might not be too bad. Flipping back to January. This is our last January setup. So next week, this will be the first week of February. I always do my weeks with the week that has the most days in it. So February has 4, January has 3. So for me, next week will be February. Look for the February plan with me to come. I'm not going to film it today. I hope to film it Monday or Tuesday, trying to pace myself, but still get some content up so that I can share the February sticker kit with you as well over on my Patreon. If you want to download that, we will get that up this week as well. I know this one's a little bit blank. Sometimes life gets in the way, and this is what our planning looks like, because we don't know what things are going to look like from here to here. I also might have a son who's going to be having eye surgery, and I don't know where that's going to fall if he truly does have a hole in his retina. It's just a busy time. Like I said, when those sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. If you guys like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.